Have you ever bought a Lego set, you look at it, at first it looks great, but then when you bring it home, you look at it again, it's like, nope, I don't like it. Well, don't toss that bag out, because I'm going to show you how to make and improve whatever bag that you bought to your liking. So today we're going to talk about Polybag set 30674. So as you can see on a bag, you can build two vehicles from this. We're going to focus on the race car today. The unique thing about this set is, unlike most small vehicles that you can build from Lego sets, where you have either a 4-stud wide vehicle, a 6-stud wide vehicle, or an 8-stud wide vehicle, this one is actually a 5-stud wide vehicle. When you look at it, the set itself, it looks rather normal, but when you look at the instructions, you'll notice that they use a 3x3 plate instead of a standard 2x3 plate or even a 4x3 plate. Now, what you can do is you can either go and get new pieces, or in my case, I'm going to show you how you can take the existing pieces and reverse engineer it so that you can make it so that it will fit with your other existing sets. Let's start with this model that I made. You'll notice that right away, it doesn't look like anything that the instructions have, but it is very close because it still has that race car configuration. In my previous videos, I made custom sets by identifying parts and then build it towards that shape or the type of model you want to build. So today I'm going to work in reverse. I'm going to take an existing mock model that I've made and kind of show you what my thought process was from piece to the model and back. Let's start with the spoiler. As you can see in the instruction, there is a spoiler on the vehicle, but it is a 4x vehicle with two attachments, like two sword attachments. That would make this a 5-stud wide, a 6-stud wide vehicle in the back where the spoiler is. So what I've done is I eliminated that just to make it more streamlined and consistent. And as you can see, unlike the model, I made this detachable so that if you want to keep it on, you can, or if you want to keep it off and keep the vehicle looking like a normal car, you can just take it off like I just have. Now, what I've done here is I took the pieces, I look at what is available. So again, if you look at the instructions for the original build, you have two swords on the side, but I opted out not to put the swords just to keep the profile rather slim so that you can fit it with your existing sets. For the clip part, I took the female and the male's part, and then I clip them together to build the spoiler around it. Now, what I've done was I started out with just the spoiler, the clip pieces, which is this, and then there's a clip piece, which is this blue part, and I kind of started out that way. Okay, so if you take the blue pieces and you kind of build around that, what I did was I took the available clip piece as well, the 2x1 plate, and then I put it on this, and then I use these quarter round smooth plates, surround it on the back, and then I use this 1x4 plate along with these quarter circles with the growth piece, and then I attached it on the top here. So right there, that's my spoiler. Now on to the main body. So very much like this vehicle here, you'll see that you have this front part, you have the 4 wheels on the side, and then you have a divide here. I have a very similar idea compared to this, but I kind of made it more like, made it a little bit more aerodynamic compared to this build. So what I've done was I took the wheels and kind of start from there. So in order for this to have a slim profile, you want to minimize the plate footprint. What I did was, for it to stay a 4-stud wide vehicle, I made sure that the two axle pieces in the front are connected like this. Okay, because in the instructions, you can see that this is a 3x3 plate, which stretches this out to a total of a 5-stud construction. So I streamlined that by putting it together. And with the same reasoning, I did the same for the back. Now for the front, you'll see that in the instructions, you have a kind of like a bumper slash air dam in the front. So what I did was I took the idea and I took this piece, this 2x3 plate, and I made a very similar construction. You don't have to completely throw out the old idea. You can use the existing idea and approximate it to make it work for your new build. And in this case, I did it so that the profile is a slim 4-stud wide vehicle. I take the wheel, which I set aside earlier, put it together. And this is the modified version of this front. Now, next what I did was I took the front piece and looked at it and go, okay, if I were to keep this as an open cockpit, I can do that. But I want to make a slight change so that you don't have to like fit a figure in there. Notice that this polybag set has no figure, even though there is a figure in the instructions. So to get around that, I put a closed canopy build on this so that I can kind of cheat my way through. So what I did in this case is I took 2 1x3 plates that's available to set, and then I took the 1x2 slope tile and I put it on the front, and I did the same thing for the back here, very much like the fender. I took the 2 pieces, like the 2 fin pieces, and I took the slopes, the remaining 2 slope piece, and built on top of that. And then once I put that together, I used the side light element and put it on the side so it kind of approximated the original build. And I finished it off with the two transparent pieces you can see in the front part. And I used a ingot piece on the top to kind of make sure everything kind of stays on. So once that's done, I snapped that on. So this is how you get the profile. Last but not least, there's the back. In the back, I use the same principle as the front bumper. What I did was I used the front bumper piece, or this wing piece, or sorry, trapezoidal piece. I used the remaining 1x3 plates where there are 2. And then I used the 2x3 tiles. And then I snapped that onto the clip piece that I mentioned earlier in this video. And then I finally used this 1x3 jumper piece and snapped it on the back, like so, to kind of like stabilize everything. And then I applied the back tires onto this, like what I did with the front. And then I snapped that on the bottom, like so. This way you have a very stable piece. Is a 4-stud wide construction with the wheels rolling perfectly free. And then if you choose, you can attach the spoiler piece that I have mentioned before, like so. Voila. Now, I did not include the extra pieces because in this case, they're not needed. But again, like the previous video that we have, you can always use it and use the same philosophy to build something that's original and something that's not in the instructions to whatever you want. So let's just recap. What you're seeing right now is a modified version of the original polybag build, but instead of the 5-stud wide vehicle construction, you have a 4-stud wide construction vehicle construction. So this would fit into most standard Lego sets, the larger Lego sets, where you employ vehicles as part of the build. So what I did was I looked at how the vehicle is originally, built around that, and then I start identifying the parts of the vehicle. So I started with the spoiler, which is detachable, because it will give you both the option of whether or not you want the spoiler on the vehicle, or you just want to take it out and just have it as a regular vehicle that you can use in your Lego dioramas. And then what I did was I then identified what needs to be done to shrink down the footprint of the tire base so that instead of a 5-stud wide tire base, you have a 4-stud wide tire base. Then I look at the original model and look at what I can do to approximate what is there already. So for the front air dam / bumper section, I took the trapezoidal piece, put it together and stabilize it with the plate, the 2x3 plate, and then top it off with the slope piece, and then the 2 blue slope piece, and then put it together in the front assembly with the tires I mentioned earlier. And then I did the same thing for the middle part. where I just took it apart like so, and I used the same principle and method to build the cabin of the vehicle. So I took whatever pieces available. I kind of approximated because, again, using the logic that because it doesn't come with figured, right, we'll kind of cheat around that. Last but not least, I built the rear part of the vehicle using the same method that I used for the front of the vehicle, and then I put that together. And then once that's all done, you can assemble it like so, like that. You can apply this to any poly bag, like any of the Lego poly bag you see at, say, Walmart or Dollarama. If you don't like something, right, you don't always have to follow the model. Just look at what is available, what pieces you can use, and work around that. So if you had a chance to check out our previous video, I did this process forward. Now this is how you do it backwards. And again, make sure that when you build this vehicle, one of the things you want to keep in mind is you want to keep it functional, if not the aesthetics to be more or less similar. So in this case, it's just still rolls freely. If you have any more questions, or if you want to see more videos like this, please comment below and hit subscribe and like our video. Thank you so much.